Welcome to Cracking the Code. C++. It powers video games, operating systems, trading algorithms, and even the Mars rover. But if you're new here, it might look like random symbols and frustration. Here's the truth. C++ is not as hard as people say. You just need to start at the beginning and not in the middle. In this series, we're learning C++ from absolute zero. No assuming you know things, no skipping steps. By the end of this video, you will have ran and run your first C++ program. Let's go. Before we write code, let's understand what C++ actually is. Computers don't speak English. They speak machine code, just ones and zeros. Nobody wants to write that. So we invented programming languages. C++ is one of them. You write code that humans can read, then a program called a compiler translates it into machine code the computer understands. Think of it like this. You write a recipe in English, a translator converts it to French, the French chef follows it, the compiler is your translator. C++ is fast because it's close to the hardware. It gives you control over memory, which most modern languages hide from you. That's why games and high-performance software use it. Okay, enough theory, let's actually do something. To run C++ code, you need two things: a compiler, that translator I mentioned, and an editor, where you type your code. Here's the easiest way for beginners, no complicated setup. Go to onlinegdb.com. It's a free online compiler. You don't install anything, just open your browser. Once you're there, you'll see a text area. The language should say C++. If not, click the drop down and select C++ 17 or C++ 20. Then there's the green button that says run, that's your compiler button. For this tutorial, this is all we need. Later, we'll install a real compiler on your computer, but for now, browser only, no excuses. Everyone ready? Let's write the code. Delete everything in the editor so we have a blank file. Now type exactly what I type, and I mean exactly. C++ is picky. Line 1, the hash include tells the compiler to grab code from the library called IOStream. That's input-output stream. It handles printing to your screen or to the console and reading from your keyboard. Line 2, this saves you from typing. Without it, you'd have to type std::: before a bunch of words. I'll explain why later in the video, but for now just type it. Line 3, int main. Every C++ program needs a main function. When you run your program, this is where it starts. The curly braces open the function. Line 4, cout prints to the console. The double arrows point the text toward cout. Then endl ends the line and moves to the next. Don't forget the semicolon at the end. Every statement in C++ ends with a semicolon. And notice the indentation. One press of the spacebar or tab. It's not required, but it makes your code readable. Line 5, return 0, tells the operating system that your program finished successfully. 0 means no errors. Line 6, the closing curly brace closes the function. Now, click the green run button, and there it is. You just wrote your first C++ program. Now, if we add a new line and remove endl from the first statement, or both of them, you can see what it was doing the entire time. It was just adding a new line and then writing the text, but without it, all the text prints on the same line. So you have to use endl if you want to write a new line, which ends the line and makes a new one. Let me show you what each piece does, because you'll see this exact pattern in every C++ program. Hash include IOStream. This is like borrowing a toolbox. The IOStream toolbox contains cout, print, cin, input, and other console tools. Using namespace standard. The standard namespace is where IOStream lives. This line just saves you from typing std::: in front of everything. We'll remove it later in the video so you understand what's happening under the hood. Int main. Every program has exactly one main function. The int means it's an integer. That's our return 0 at the end. The parentheses can hold inputs later, but it's empty for now. Cout is console output. The arrows send whatever is on the right into cout. The quotes make it a string of text. Endl adds a new line, and a semicolon ends the instruction. 0 means success. If your program crashes or fails, you might return 1 or another number. Operating systems check this value. Curly braces group code together. Everything inside the main function's braces runs when the program starts. Remember that line using namespace standard? I said we'd come back to it. Now it's time. Here's our working program right now. It runs perfectly. Hello world prints, everyone's happy. Now watch what happens when I remove that line. Boom, compiler error. It says something like cout was not declared in the scope. The compiler has no idea what cout means anymore. Same for endl, they're just gone. Why? Because cout and endl live inside something called the standard namespace. Its nickname is std. When I had using namespace standard at the top, I was telling the compiler, hey, go look inside the standard namespace for anything I use. Remove that line, the compiler stops looking. So it sees cout and says, I've never heard of that word. Think of it like this. The std namespace is a room full of tools. Cout is one tool and endl is another. Cin is another. There are hundreds. Using namespace standard is like opening the door to the room and saying, everything in here, I might use any of it, keep it all accessible. Without that line, you have to be specific. You have to tell the compiler exactly which tool came from which room. So how do we fix it? Without using namespace standard, we put std : in front of anything that comes from that namespace. See that? std : cout instead of just cout. std : endl instead of just endl. The : is called the scope resolution operator. It means look inside this namespace for that thing. Run it. Now, our code works perfectly. No using namespace standard needed. You went from nothing to writing and running C++ code. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Leave a comment with your first program. I read all of them. And remember, every expert was once a beginner who didn't give up. I'll see you in the next video.